Hello and welcome to Ryno's Ravens review. Seems kind of weird to do two review shows in 1 week, but that's what happens when there's Thursday night football. Now, it will be some time before you see me do a Ravens video again, so if you hit the subscribe button, you'll be notified when the videos drop. And while you're at it, why don't you go ahead and hit the like button too for me. Thank you. Well, Ravens beat the Bengals, but it came at a very high price. Right at the top of my notes here, Mark Andrews going to be out for a while. They're calling it a fibula injury. Was it a fracture? What is? See BaltimoreRavens.com right here on the main page. Yeah, cracked fibula and ankle ligament injury as a result of the hip drop tackle from Logan Wilson, which sadly will have the hip drop tackle be looked at much like the horse collar tackle was looked at many years ago when, I don't remember the defender, but when they broke Terrell Owens' leg. Soon after that, the horse collar tackle was banned. Now, hip drop tackle does kind of look like it can cause some injuries, but at the same time, there's not a whole lot else you can do when the offensive guy is running away from the defender. All right, other notes, or more headline notes, I guess. Beckham didn't get a touchdown this game, but was the first game in a long time that he's gone over 100 yards. Now, Aguilar and Bateman got the touchdown, so I don't know how upset he is over that, because he is probably the most diva personality we've had on this team in a long time. But getting over 100 yards, I think, should help him get over that. Good performance by the defense, not necessarily dominant. They did get 5 sacks, but no turnovers, so I wouldn't exactly call that dominant. And a lot of that was because Burrow was knocked out of the game before halftime. Now, Burrow went into the game with a wrist injury, so slightly different than, let's say, Logan Wilson, knocking out Mark Andrews. Ton of bad calls by the referees. It's like the referees were jet lagged from traveling all over the place and having to referee a game this soon. A lot of stupid pass interference and or holding penalties. Zay Flowers had a touchdown run, or not necessarily a run, I guess, run after the catch, called back, and Odell Beckham was not holding it, dude. And then there was another pass interference call, I think, later in the game where they said one of the Ravens receivers, and I can't remember which one, was interfered with, and you look at it and like, there's no interference there. There's nothing there. Really need to get a handle on this officiating. It's just not good. All right, let's get into the numbers here. We'll go to the Game Center page. What the Baltimore Ravens put up. Yeah, I'll go to my NFL page a little later, but I like looking at this one first. Lamar Jackson, not that great as far as his completion percentage. Part of that is I think we were talking about it so much. Now we jinxed him. We're talking about how good Lamar is at completing passes, and then now all of a sudden he's not that good at completing passes anymore, at least from a percentage standpoint. Now, 264 yards passing and only 16 completed passes, that's pretty good with 2 touchdowns. That is good. Those are good numbers, but 16 for 26 isn't that good. Somewhat low on the passing numbers, mostly because really after halftime it was over. what's the Browning, backup quarterback for Cincinnati Bengals. He just wasn't going to lead the Bengals in beating the Ravens. Now, Browning looks pretty good. I mean, maybe not pretty good. Pretty good for a backup anyway. So I think the Bengals, I don't know that they're out of it. So see where that goes. Gus Edwards carrying the load again. The big hammer that we got. 12 rushers for 62 yards. Not that many yards. He's usually not running that many yards. He's not a 100-yard game kind of guy. But 2 touchdowns. That's why he's there. Lamar Jackson, 54 rushing yards. Keaton Mitchell, 33 rushing yards. They're the guys that are going to get all the yards for us. What did I say? Oh, okay. Going back to my notes here. Last game against the Browns, Keaton Mitchell did kind of disappear. Supposedly, when questioned about that, Harbaugh and some of the other coaches were like, oh, well, he wasn't in the game plan. Well, he's in the game plan a little more this game. You can see 8 rushing attempts. And he had at least 1 catch. You see 1 catch over here. So almost 10 touches, that's probably appropriate for your second running back. You know, you have your primary back, Gus Edwards, and then you have Lamar Jackson. How many touches do you want Keaton Mitchell to get? You also have Justice Hill and Zay Flowers taking some touches as well. All right, let's go to NFL.com's page. You can get more into the stats here as I finish up with the offense a little bit and then get into the defense. Justice Hill appears to be going to be featured less. It looks like Keaton Mitchell has moved past Justice Hill, which is kind of disappointing, especially in that Cincinnati game because Justice's brother Dax was the safety over there. So no brother-on-brother violence there. But Keaton Mitchell, you can see this, 8 carries for 33 yards, more than 4 yards a carry on average. Yeah, he's definitely going to be featured a lot more, or he better be, or somebody might be losing their job again. So I mentioned Odell Beckham finally over 100 yards, 116 yards on 4 catches, 7 targets. Now, he did his last catch. He was doing all that shaking and baking and dodging and diving and ducking and stuff. And then got crushed by Logan Wilson at the end of it. Not a hip drop tackle. It looked a fairly mundane tackle. But way Beckham came down, it did appear to hurt something in his upper body, collarbone, shoulder type area. Was downplayed. So with 10 days of rest, hopefully Beckham will be okay. Yeah, Andrews was able to get 2 catches in. Sadly, he might be done for a while. Aguilar only had 1 catch, 1 target. I'm not sure why exactly he got a target here. He wasn't targeted. Actually, this is a tip play. I mean, unless he had a target at some other point and I missed it, but the 1 catch actually came when he wasn't targeted. Likely was targeted, but the ball was tipped at the line, and it kind of ricocheted toward Aguilar, and he took it 37 yards for a touchdown. So sometimes when, in these games, you got to be lucky. The ball just has to bounce your way, literally. You see Charlie Kohler here with 1 catch for 13 yards. You see Likely here. No catches, was targeted twice. Look to see Kohler and Likely try to pick up the load for Mark Andrews. I like Isaiah Likely. I don't know why it appears Lamar Jackson doesn't, but actually on one of Zay Flowers' catches, I didn't make a note of this either. I don't know why I didn't make a note of this, but it was the first drive, right? I'm pretty sure it was the first drive. Flowers is lined up on the right side and runs a drag route. Marr hits him very short. Zay Flowers takes it all the way to the other side of the field. Well, that is where Likely was. And here's Likely blocking 3 guys on this play for Flowers. I mean, he was a little bit of a block in the back, maybe a nudge in the back, not a full block. Because you know how Zay Flowers is a little more shifty. So Likely kind of nudges the guy a little more off balance, take him out of the play. And as he's turning to go upfield, shoulders into another guy. And then he goes and finds a third guy and drags him down the field. So, but that's why I like Isaiah Likely. You see that ability to not only be down the field, but actually good at blocking. So, hopefully Lamar Jackson, through these practices, will get more comfortable with Isaiah Likely, and we'll see him get more touches. What else do I got here? Yeah, I mentioned that, and I mentioned that. All right. That's really enough for the defense. It's Rashad Bateman touchdown. Really good move by Bateman. Was going towards more towards the back pylon, and then Jackson in his rolling out of the pocket, which we didn't feel like he did that enough during the Cleveland game. Well, he did it in this game. Rolling out to the pocket to his left, Bateman coming back towards the middle of the field and hooking up for the touchdown. As I said, not too much of a dominant performance by the defense, but they played really well. And here it looks to be Rock Ya-Sin got a few snaps. He doesn't look that good, but Ronald Darby looks pretty good in place of Marlon Humphrey. As you can see, Darby here, 3 passes defended. Looking at Roquan Smith's numbers here, no 20 tackles this time. Patrick Queen got a lot of the tackles here, but you can see Owe, Tavarius Robinson, Kyle Van Noy, Javian Clowney, and Justin Manabike all with sacks. So that's 5 sacks for the team that was already leading the league in sacks. Something on Owe. Reading speed rush. Owe's not, he's kind of tall, but he's not that big of a guy. His thing is more of a speed rush. Well, we finally saw it last night. Our old friend Orlando Brown Jr., left tackle for the Cincinnati Bengals, matched up against Owe most of the game. Owe had a few tackles. It's not like Orlando Brown Jr. shut him out, though I still wish we would have kept him around. Owe's sack, he just went right around him. He used that speed, went right around him like it was on a merry-go-round. And Orlando Brown was chasing his tail the whole time. Able to bring down, I think at that point it was Joe Burrow for the sack. I mentioned 4 other players with the sack. Joe Burrow knocked out of the game in the second quarter. It wasn't a malicious hit. It was really more Burrow was taken down and he used that wrist that was already injured to try to brace himself, and it kind of, that was it. Too much pressure on a wrist that was already injured, and he couldn't grip the football enough to throw it. And most of that, while Browning looks good, it's just, he didn't have enough practice, I guess, and it wasn't game planning enough, but he doesn't look too bad. He was able, let's take a look at the left side here, where we got, you see, Bengals were putting up a few points, a field goal here. They did punt a lot. He did end up throwing a touchdown, but garbage time anyway, but I think with more practice, it'll be fine. It is kind of odd that we saw this backup quarterback come in and play two quarters. I mean, 2.5 quarters and no turnovers. That's weird. I think that is something that's going into why I think Browning looks to be okay, because you've seen the Ravens defense and how much they've been more Geno Stone, I guess. Geno Stone, how many 6, 7 interceptions? Geno Stone didn't get an interception today. I guess that's why I just feel like Browning could be okay, but maybe, it just wasn't meant to be. Ravens, no turnovers. But as you can see, they didn't give up the ball either. Mark Andrews technically fumbled the ball. Logan Wilson tackled him, but was able to cover it up amidst being injured. All right, so let's wrap this up here. Right there where I was just talking before I interrupted myself to wrap up the show here. Mark Andrews going to be out for a while. We don't know yet. It's a little too early to tell how long he will be out, but got some damage to his lower leg there. He was able to walk off the field under his own power, and as I just mentioned, was able to recover a fumble, which he fumbled on the play that he was injured. But overall, this was a good performance by Baltimore Ravens. Defense, they got kind of a gift in facing an already injured quarterback again with Joe Burrow, and then being able to face the backup after that. But you look at the scoring here, Ravens were able to put up at least 6 points in each of the last 2 quarters. It's not something they're always good at doing. Even though you're short week, people are even more tired than I'm sure they usually are. Probably a little more banged up than they usually are. This is something we need to keep up with. And it's going to be harder now without Mark Andrews for a while. So Aguilar, Bateman, you guys got to step up. Likely Kohler, somebody's got to fill that in there a little bit. And maybe we'll finally see Keaton Mitchell featured a little more. You would think the little read option that Lamar Jackson likes to do, if you got Keaton Mitchell standing there next to him, that's gonna keep some defensive coordinators up at night with all that speed between those two guys. Well, let's go to the schedule. Sunday, November 26th is the Baltimore Ravens' next game. They will be at the Los Angeles Chargers. So what do we got? We got almost 10 days off here. We'll have a preview show until what? That's Saturday. So, yeah, it'll be a minute. But be sure to like and subscribe. I am the Angry Ryno. Fly, Ravens, fly.